Welcome to the peaceful space of sleep-friendly science, where tonight, we'll drift on the unseen currents of our planet's great magnetic shield, a silent protector that is beginning to stir in its ancient slumber. So find that perfect position, the one where your body feels most at ease. Let your shoulders soften, your jaw release, and allow the gentle weight of gravity to hold you. We are not here to study, but to wonder, to feel. Have you ever considered the invisible forces that cradle you at this very moment? Now settle in, take a deep breath, and let the soft sounds guide you as we begin tonight's journey into the unknown. Section 1. The Invisible Ocean's Embrace. Breathe in and out. Imagine the space around you. Not just the walls of your room or the ceiling above, but the air itself. Feel its quiet presence on your skin. We move through this air every moment of our lives, often without a second thought, as fish move through water. But surrounding this thin bubble of atmosphere, enveloping our entire world, is something far vaster, far more ancient. It is an ocean of a different kind, an invisible ocean of energy, a silent, benevolent force field that has cradled life on Earth for billions of years. This is the magnetosphere, our planet's flickering shield. You cannot see it. You cannot taste it or touch it in the way you can touch the ground beneath you. And yet, it is as fundamental to your existence as the oxygen you are breathing now. It is a cosmic embrace, a silent guardian that extends from the very heart of our world, reaching out for tens of thousands of kilometers into the void of space. Think of it as the planet's aura, a luminous ghost of our world, visible only to the most sensitive instruments, and to the quietest parts of our imagination. Let your mind drift outwards past the clouds, past the highest wisps of the atmosphere where the blue of the sky fades to the black of infinity. It is here, in this silent realm, that the shield does its most profound work. Imagine yourself floating in this space, a traveler of consciousness. You would see the earth below, a swirling marble of blue, white, and green, and all around it you would begin to perceive this immense flowing structure. It is not static. It breathes. With every solar flare, with every gust of charged particles from the sun, this field ripples and flexes. It is a dynamic living thing. It is shaped like a vast teardrop, or perhaps more poetically like a great cosmic windsock. The side facing the sun is compressed, pushed back by the constant stream of particles we call the solar wind. It stands firm, a bastion against a never-ending stellar gale. But on the night side, the side you are on now, it is stretched out, elongated, trailing behind our planet for millions of kilometers like the train of a celestial gown. This immense flowing tail is where you are now, nestled safely on the dark side of the planet, shielded from the raw power of our star. The sun, our beautiful life-giving sun, is a torrent of unimaginable energy. It bathes us in light and warmth, but it also showers us with a constant storm of protons and electrons, a relentless cosmic radiation that would, if left unchecked, strip away our atmosphere and make life on the surface impossible. But we are not unprotected. This magnetic shield, this gentle ocean of force, stands in the way. It is a deflector shield of planetary proportions. As the solar wind arrives, a river of energy flowing at 1,000,000 miles per hour, it meets this invisible barrier. The shield parts the flow, guiding the vast majority of these charged particles safely around our world, just as a smooth stone in a river parts the water. They flow past us, their harmful energy diverted into the cosmic dark. We are safe within our magnetic cocoon. Sometimes, though, a small portion of this energy is captured. It is funneled down along the magnetic field lines towards the poles, the 2 points on our globe where the shield plunges back into the planet. And when these solar particles collide with the atoms in our upper atmosphere, oxygen and nitrogen, they create a spectacle of breathtaking beauty. The aurora borealis and aurora australis, the northern and southern lights. Think of them as the visible evidence of our planet's shield at work. They are not just light. They are a song, a dance, a luminous tapestry woven from a cosmic near-miss. They are the shield's exhalation, a sigh of relief made visible. When you see those curtains of green, pink, and violet light shimmering in the polar skies, you are witnessing the gentle, artistic collision between the sun's power and the Earth's protection. It is the shield's way of saying, "All is well. I am here. Rest." This shield is generated from a place of unimaginable heat and pressure, the very core of our planet. We will journey there later in our story, but for now just feel its presence. Imagine its structure. The lines of this magnetic field arc out from the South Pole, loop through space in great, elegant curves and plunge back in at the North Pole. Like the lines on a bar magnet from a science class, but on a scale that dwarfs human comprehension. They are invisible threads of force, weaving a protective basket around our world. You have spent your entire life inside this basket. Every bird that flies, every whale that swims in the deep, every tree that reaches for the sky, exists within this field. It is the silent, unacknowledged context for all life. It has been our constant companion, our unwavering guardian, through ice ages and asteroid impacts, through the rise and fall of mountains and of civilizations. For eons, its rhythm has been a steady one, a slow planetary pulse, a reliable protector. But nothing, not even a force as grand as this, is permanent. Change is the fundamental language of the cosmos, and our shield is beginning to speak a new word. Scientists, the patient listeners of the Earth, have noticed something. A subtle shift, a tremor in the field. The pulse, once so steady, has begun to falter, to flicker. It is as if the great guardian is stirring in a long slumber, preparing to shift its position. The magnetic poles, the anchors of this vast shield, are on the move. The North is drifting, wandering away from its familiar home in the Canadian Arctic, heading towards Siberia at a quickening pace. This is not a catastrophe but a transformation, a natural cyclical process that has happened hundreds of times in our planet's long history. It is a sign that the Earth is not a dead rock, but a living, breathing, dynamic world. The shield is not breaking. It is preparing to renew itself. So as you lie here, feel the gentle hold of this immense, invisible structure. Be aware of the silent, cosmic drama unfolding around you. The gentle guardian that has protected humanity for its entire existence is beginning to change. Its steady hum is developing a new vibration, a whisper of what is to come, a reversal. This is not a reason for fear, but for wonder, for curiosity. We are privileged to be alive at a time when we can observe one of our planet's most profound and mysterious processes. We are witnesses to the Earth's deep, slow breathing. For now, simply rest in its embrace. Feel the security it has always provided. The gentle, invisible currents of this magnetic ocean are still flowing around you, keeping you safe, as they have for every night of your life. But now you know their secret. They are not eternal. They are alive, and they are changing. Breathe in that sense of wonder, and as you breathe out, let go of the need to understand it all. Just feel it. The quiet strength of a planet in motion. The flickering shield. Section 2. The planet's molten heart. We left our awareness floating in the silent, protective embrace of the magnetosphere, that great invisible shield woven around our world. We saw it flex and shimmer, diverting the sun's fierce energy, and we felt its first subtle tremor, a sign of a deep and ancient change beginning to stir. But to truly understand this flickering shield, we must ask, from where does it come? What engine, hidden in the heart of our world, possesses the power to generate such a colossal field of force? Our journey now is not outward, into the cold of space, but inward, downward. Let your consciousness drift from the surface and begin a slow, gentle descent into the Earth itself. This is not a violent burrowing, but a quiet sinking, as if you are a thought, a dream becoming heavier, denser, drawn toward the planet's center of gravity. You pass through the crust, the thin, brittle shell upon which our continents and oceans rest. It feels like a layer of memory, compressed stone holding the stories of mountains rising and eroding, of seas advancing and retreating. It is but a skin thinner in proportion than the skin of an apple. Below this we enter the mantle. Here time itself seems to slow down. We are sinking through a realm of solid rock that flows over geological ages. Imagine stone moving with the slowness of a glacier. A river of rock so viscous that a human lifetime is less than a single frozen moment in its current. The pressure is immense, the heat is growing, but in your state of peaceful observation, you feel only a profound ancient stillness. This is the Earth's deep patience, a layer of stone nearly 3,000 kilometers thick, insulating the surface world from the secrets hidden in the core. You are sinking through eons through the quiet, deep geology of our world. And then after a long, slow drift through this river of stone, you feel a change. A boundary. You have reached the edge of the mantle, and you are about to enter a new realm entirely, the heart of the planet. As you slip through this final boundary, the world transforms. You are no longer surrounded by solid, albeit flowing rock. You have arrived in an ocean. A vast spherical ocean of liquid metal. This is the Earth's outer core. Breathe, and imagine this place. There is no light here, for light cannot exist. But in your mind's eye, picture it as a realm of soft, internal luminescence. A globe of molten iron and nickel, glowing not with fire, but with the deep contained heat. The temperature here is greater than you can truly comprehend, as hot as the surface of the sun, but the pressure is so extreme, so utterly immense, that it behaves in ways we can barely imagine. It is a liquid, but a liquid under the weight of a world. You are floating now within the planetary dynamo, the very engine of the magnetic shield. This is the source, the wellspring. That vast protective field in space is but a ghost, an echo of the power that churns here, in the deep dark heart of the world. Feel the movement. This metallic ocean is not still. It is in constant, slow, majestic motion. It is a symphony of currents, a dance of liquid metal on a planetary scale. Think of it as the Earth's true heartbeat, a slow, rhythmic, powerful pulse that has been beating for billions of years. This is the geodynamo. What drives this colossal heart? It begins with an even deeper secret. At the very center of this liquid ocean is another core, a solid inner core, a sphere of pure iron, compressed by such unimaginable pressure that even at solar temperatures, it cannot melt. It is a solid crystal of iron, a silent white-hot sun at the center of the world. This solid inner core is the ultimate source of heat. It is like a tiny captured star, constantly radiating its warmth out into the liquid ocean that surrounds it. And this heat is what sets everything in motion. Imagine great, slow plumes of this liquid iron, heated by the inner core, beginning to rise. They are less dense, more buoyant, and so they ascend through the outer core, carrying their profound heat upwards, towards the cooler boundary of the mantle. Think of it not as a violent boiling, but as a slow cosmic breath. A rising of warmth like a ghost of heat ascending through the dark. As these plumes reach the top of the outer core, near the mantle they begin to cool. They release their energy into the rock above, and in cooling they become denser. And so they begin to sink again. A slow, heavy downward drift back toward the hot, solid center. This continuous cycle, rising when hot, sinking when cool, creates immense, slow-moving currents. A planetary convection, a circulation of liquid metal, a constant stirring of the Earth's heart. This is the first part of the engine, a heat-driven flow. But there is a second crucial element. The Earth, as you know, is spinning. It rotates on its axis once a day, a slow and steady pirouette in the theater of space. And this spin, this gentle, constant turning, has a profound effect on the currents within the core. As the plumes of liquid iron rise and fall, the planet's rotation twists them. It deflects their path, curling them into vast spiraling columns. Imagine the slow, straight rise of steam from a cup of tea, and then imagine stirring the cup. The steam would begin to spiral. Now, picture this on a scale of thousands of kilometers. The rising and falling currents of metal are not simple up and down movements. They are twisted into colossal, graceful, corkscrewing vortices, like ghostly cosmic drills, slowly turning in the planet's heart. This is the Coriolis effect, a dance between heat and spin. And now for the final magical step. We have moving, spiraling columns of liquid metal. And liquid iron is a conductor. It can carry an electric charge. The laws of physics tell us that when you move a conductor through a magnetic field, you generate an electric current. But where did the first magnetic field come from? It may have been a faint whisper from the sun, a remnant from the Earth's formation. It doesn't matter. All that was needed was a single tiny seed of magnetism. Because once that seed was there, the process became self-sustaining. The motion of the iron generated a small electric current. That electric current, in turn, generated its own small magnetic field. This new magnetic field was then added to the original, making it stronger. The stronger field, swept up in the churning iron, then generated an even stronger electric current, which in turn created an even stronger magnetic field. It is a feedback loop of immense power. A self-generating, self-sustaining engine. The Earth's core is a place where motion creates electricity, and electricity creates magnetism, and magnetism, caught in the motion, amplifies itself. It is a process that has been running, growing, and sustaining itself for nearly the entire lifetime of our world. The Earth is singing an electric song to itself in its core. A deep, resonant hum of electromagnetic energy, born from the waltz of heat and spin. And that song, that hum, is so powerful that it does not stay contained within the core. It radiates outward. It passes through the thick mantle as if it were glass. It moves through the crust, through the oceans, through the atmosphere, and extends far out into space. That shield we first imagined, the one protecting you from the solar wind, is the grand finale of this song. It is the music of the Earth's heart, made manifest. The invisible lines of force that arc from pole to pole are the shape of this deep, internal power, projected onto the canvas of space. The planet's slow, steady heartbeat in its molten core creates the steady, protective aura that allows us to live. So, when we say the shield is flickering, what we are really saying is that the heartbeat is changing its rhythm. The song is changing its tune. Down here, in this imagined ocean of liquid metal, the currents are not immutable. They shift. They ebb and flow over vast timescales. The pattern of those spiraling columns of iron is not fixed. For thousands of years, the pattern has been relatively stable, creating a field with a clear north and a clear south pole. The dynamo has been in a steady state, the rhythm of its song consistent. But now, deep in the planet's heart, something is beginning to shift. Perhaps a new plume of heat is rising in an unexpected place. Perhaps a vortex is weakening, or a new one is forming. The internal dynamics are changing. The flow of the liquid iron is becoming more complex, less orderly. And as the engine's rhythm changes, so too does the field it generates. The flicker we detect on the surface and in space is a direct reflection of a disturbance in the heart. A change in the tempo of the Earth's deepest song. This is the beginning of the reversal. A time when the old familiar rhythm of the dynamo breaks down, preparing to reorganize itself into a new one. It is not a sign of failure, but of renewal. The heart of the planet is not dying. It is preparing for a profound transformation, a rearranging of its own internal, elemental energies. As you rest here, feel that deep, slow pulse beneath you. Miles and miles of rock and ocean and air separate you from it, but it is there. The slow, rhythmic churning of a metallic ocean. The source of the invisible blanket that keeps you safe. Feel the planet not as a solid, static thing, but as a living body with a warm, beating heart. And in that heartbeat, hear the first faint, discordant notes of a new melody beginning to play. Breathe in and feel the deep, slow rhythm of the earth. Breathe out and rest in the knowledge of the living, breathing world beneath you. Section 3: Echoes in Ancient Stones. We have journeyed to the fiery heart of our planet, and felt the slow, majestic churn of the geodynamic source of our world's protective shield. We've come to understand this shield not as a static object, but as the outward expression of a living, breathing process deep within the earth. And we've felt the first hint of a change in its rhythm. But this raises a profound question. How do we know this has happened before? If the last reversal occurred long before human civilization, before writing, before even our species existed in its modern form, where is the evidence? Where is the library that holds the records of our planet's deep magnetic past? The answer is not found in books or scrolls, but in the Earth itself. The library is the rock beneath your feet. Our journey now is not to the core, but back to the surface, to the quiet storytellers of our planet's history. The stones. For some rocks, under the right conditions, are born with a memory. They are fossilized compasses, holding a silent, magnetic echo of the world, as it was at the moment of their birth. To understand this, let us drift in our minds to a place of fiery creation. Imagine a great volcano somewhere on the ancient Earth. A river of molten lava, incandescent and glowing, flows down its slopes, a burning tongue of liquid rock. This lava is rich in minerals, and among them are tiny microscopic grains of iron-rich substances, like magnetite. While the rock is liquid, these tiny magnetic grains are free to move. They are like infinitesimal compass needles, suspended in a thick hot soup. And as they float in this molten river, they feel the pull of the Earth's magnetic field, that same field generated by the dynamo deep below. Just as a compass needle on your table aligns itself with north, these trillions upon trillions of tiny mineral needles all swivel in the liquid rock to align themselves with the planet's reigning magnetic field. At this moment, the entire river of lava is a flowing liquid magnet, perfectly attuned to the will of the planet. But then the lava begins to cool. It slows, thickens, and hardens. Its liquid freedom is lost. And as the rock solidifies, it locks those tiny magnetic grains in place. Their alignment is frozen, captured for eternity. The rock is no longer a liquid compass, but a solid record. A snapshot. It has imprinted upon its very structure a perfect memory of the direction of the Earth's magnetic field at the precise moment it cooled. This is the science of paleomagnetism's study of ancient magnetism. The Earth writes its autobiography in stone. Now imagine this happening over and over for millions, for billions of years. Layer upon layer of volcanic rock is laid down, each one capturing the magnetic field of its time. An eruption 1,000,000 years ago captures a moment. An eruption 500,000 years ago captures another. By studying these layers, geologists can read the history of the magnetic field as if it were a book, turning back the pages one layer of rock at a time. Let us journey to one of the most important pages in this stone library. Picture yourself floating above the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Far below you on the ocean floor is a vast submerged mountain range, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. This is a place where two of the Earth's great tectonic plates are slowly pulling apart. And as they separate, magma from the mantle rises up to fill the gap. It oozes out onto the ocean floor, creating new crust, new seabed, in a constant slow-motion eruption. This new rock forming right now is being imprinted with today's magnetic field. Its tiny mineral compasses are locking into place, pointing towards our current magnetic north. But the seafloor is like a giant, double-sided conveyor belt. As new rock forms at the ridge's center, it pushes the older rock outwards, away from the ridge on both sides. The further you move from the center of the ridge, the older the rock becomes. Now, imagine we have a special kind of vision, a magnetic vision. As we look down at the ocean floor, we don't see rock and sand. We see magnetism. We see stripes. Running parallel to the Mid-Atlantic Ridge are vast, alternating bands of magnetic polarity. In one stripe, all the tiny mineral compasses point north as they do today. But in the very next stripe, a little further from the ridge, they all point south. And in the stripe after that, north again. And then south. It is a stunning symmetrical pattern, like a giant barcode printed on the ocean floor. A perfect mirror image of stripes on either side of the ridge. What story do these stripes tell? They tell us that the Earth's magnetic field has not been constant. It has flipped. It has reversed its polarity time and time again. The rock in the stripes that point south was formed at a time when a compass needle would have pointed not to the Arctic, but to Antarctica. What we call the North Magnetic Pole was at the bottom of the world, and the South Magnetic Pole was at the top. By measuring the age of the rock in each stripe, scientists have been able to create a precise timeline of these reversals, stretching back for tens of millions of years. This is not a guess. It is not a theory. It is a record, written in basalt on the bottom of the sea. And this record tells us that reversals are not a rare, cataclysmic event, but a regular, almost routine part of our planet's behavior. The rhythm is not perfect, it is chaotic. Sometimes the field will remain stable for millions of years. Other times it will flip multiple times in a single million years. But the key takeaway is this: flipping is what the magnetic field does. A stable field like the one humanity has enjoyed for the last 780,000 years is just a temporary phase. It is an intermission in a long and dramatic play. We can find these echoes elsewhere too, not just in volcanic rock. Let your mind drift to the bottom of a deep, still lake, or the quiet floor of the ocean. For centuries, a slow, gentle rain of sediment has been falling through the water. Tiny particles of dust, clay, and the remains of microscopic organisms drift down and settle on the bottom, layer by layer, year by year, millennium by millennium. Among these particles are tiny magnetic grains, washed into the lake by rivers or carried by the wind. As they settle through the still water, they too are free to orient themselves with the planet's magnetic field. Like the grains in the hot lava, when they reach the bottom they become part of the soft mud, their magnetic alignment preserved. Over time, these layers of sediment are compressed into shale or mudstone, creating another library. Scientists can drill deep cores into these ancient lakebeds and seabeds, pulling up long cylinders of layered sediment. Each layer is a page, and by analyzing the magnetic orientation of each layer, they can read the same story that is written on the ocean floor. A story of flips, of reversals, of a dynamic, ever-changing magnetic world. The evidence is overwhelming, written in countless places, in different rocky languages. From the grand, striped tapestry of the ocean floor to the subtle whispers in ancient mud, the Earth tells us with one voice: the poles have shifted before, and they will shift again. The period of stability we live in is the exception, not the rule. The last major reversal, the one that ended 780,000 years ago, is called the Brunhes-Machiyama reversal. For all of human history, from the first stone tools to the launch of rockets to the moon, we have lived in what geologists call the Brunhes magnetic crown. We have lived in a time of quiet. But the Earth's deep rhythm is stirring again. The wandering of the North Pole, the weakening of the field, these are the modern-day prologue to the next chapter. We are no longer just reading the story of past reversals in ancient stones. We are beginning to live through the opening paragraphs of the next one. The stones do not tell us to be afraid. They are calm, patient storytellers. They simply present the facts. They show us the vast cyclical nature of our planet. They remind us that the world is not a finished product, but a work in progress. The ground beneath us is not just solid foundation. It is a history book. And it tells us that change is the most natural thing in the world. So as you rest, feel the solidity of the earth beneath you. But know that this solidity holds a memory of ancient fluidity. This stillness holds the echo of a time when north was south and south was north. The planet is remembering its old dance, and we are here to witness the first slow steps. The echoes in the stones have prepared us. They have given us the context. They have shown us the map of what has been so we can better understand what is to be. Breathe in the deep, ancient history of our world and breathe out, releasing any sense of alarm, and replacing it with a quiet, profound sense of wonder at being part of such a grand, unfolding story. Section 4. A dent in the armor. We have listened to the stories told by ancient stones, echoes of a time when the world's compass was flipped. These tales from the deep past assure us that a magnetic reversal is a natural, recurring part of our planet's life cycle. But this knowledge can also feel distant, abstract, a drama played out on a stage of millions of years. It's easy to think of it as a story about the past or a distant future. But what if there were signs of this change happening right now? Not just a wandering pole or a slow weakening measured over decades, but a tangible, localized, and profoundly strange manifestation of the coming transition. There is such a place. Our journey now takes us not to the Earth's core or into deep time, but to a specific location on the globe today. Let your mind float upwards into orbit and gaze down upon the beautiful blue sphere. Let the continents drift by below you: Africa, Europe, Asia. Now watch as your vantage point shifts, moving over the Atlantic Ocean and down towards the vast expanse of South America and the southern Atlantic. It is in this part of the world, stretching from the coast of Brazil out into the ocean, that our planet's magnetic shield has a peculiar feature. A weakness. A place where the invisible armor that protects us is thinner, more fragile. Scientists have a name for it, the South Atlantic anomaly. But you can think of it more poetically. It is a dent in the armor. A subtle sag in the great protective field. A place where the turmoil in the Earth's core is bubbling closer to the surface. In this vast region spanning several million square kilometers, the magnetic field is significantly weaker than anywhere else on Earth. It is as if the planet, in its deep, restless sleep, has let its guard down in this one spot. The invisible ocean of energy we imagined earlier is shallower here. The shield is dented inwards, closer to the planet's surface. Why here? The answer lies back in that churning, molten heart of our world. As we imagined, the field is generated by spiraling columns of liquid iron. For the most part, these currents work in harmony to create a strong, simple field with one north and one south pole, a dipole. But the flow is not perfect. It is messy, chaotic. There are smaller eddies and rogue currents that don't align with the main pattern. Deep beneath the South Atlantic, geophysicists believe there is a large, persistent patch of what is called reverse flux. Imagine that while the vast majority of the core's surface is generating a field that points outwards, in the southern hemisphere, there is a large province deep below this region that is working against the grain. A patch of the dynamo that is already trying to create a north pole where a south pole should be. It is a rebellion in the core. A pocket of magnetic dissent. This localized, reversed patch fights against the main field above it. The two forces push against each other, and the result is a cancellation. A weakening. This is the source of the anomaly. It is a window into the core's chaotic transition. It is the most dramatic piece of evidence that the geodynamo is no longer in its simple, stable state. The process of reversal is not happening uniformly everywhere at once. It is beginning in patches, in localized regions of instability. The South Atlantic anomaly is the first and largest of these patches to become prominent. For us, living on the surface, walking on the solid ground of South America, this dent in the armor has no noticeable effect on our daily lives. You cannot feel it. It does not affect the weather or the tides. Your compass, if you were to use one there, would still work, albeit with a slightly less enthusiastic pull. But for anything that travels above the thick blanket of our atmosphere, the story is very different. Let your mind focus on the things that inhabit this higher realm, the silent, tireless servants of our modern world. Satellites. Hundreds of them pass through this anomaly every day. The International Space Station, with its precious human cargo, orbits through its edges multiple times in a 24-hour period. For these high-flying pieces of technology, passing through the South Atlantic anomaly is like navigating a treacherous cosmic sea. Because the shield is weaker here, the charged particles of the solar wind and from the deeper cosmos can penetrate further down. They are not held at bay as effectively. The zone of intense radiation that is normally kept thousands of kilometers above us, the Van Allen belts, dips down menacingly low in this region. When a satellite passes through the anomaly, it is bombarded with the higher-than-normal dose of high-energy protons and other cosmic rays. It is a brief but intense storm of invisible particles. This space weather can wreak havoc on sensitive electronics. The particles can flip a 1 to a 0 in a computer's memory, causing a single event upset, a digital hiccup that can send phantom commands, corrupt data, or cause the satellite to reboot unexpectedly. They can degrade solar panels, shortening their lifespan. They can slowly damage the delicate sensors of orbital telescopes. Mission controllers know this well. They often power down non-essential or particularly vulnerable instruments on their satellites when they know the craft's trajectory will take it through the anomaly. The Hubble Space Telescope, for instance, ceases its scientific observations when it passes through this region, its delicate eye temporarily closed to the universe to protect it from the radiation. Astronauts on the space station report seeing strange flashes of light, even with their eyes closed, as cosmic rays zip through their optic nerves, a direct, biological sign of passing through this more hazardous zone. The anomaly is not static. It is alive. It is growing. Over the past few decades, measurements show that it has been deepening, the field within it getting weaker and expanding westward. It is slowly drifting across the South American continent. This is not ancient history written in stone. This is a planetary feature that is changing in our lifetimes. Think of it as a bruise on the planet's magnetic skin, a tender spot that reveals a deeper turmoil. Or perhaps more gently, think of it as a hole in the clouds on an overcast day, a place where we can see the turbulent weather of a higher reality, in this case, the weather of the cosmos peeking through. The South Atlantic anomaly is a profound and humble reminder. It tells us that the shield's protection is not absolute. It tells us that the process of reversal is not some far-off, uniform event, but a messy, localized, and unfolding drama. It is a sign that the old magnetic regime is beginning to fray at the edges. This is the flicker made manifest. It is the physical evidence of the Earth's heart changing its rhythm. We see it in the scrambled data of a satellite, in the precautionary shutdowns of our most advanced telescopes, in the phantom flashes behind an astronaut's eyes. As you lie here resting peacefully, you are far from this anomaly. You are tucked safely under a part of the shield that is still strong and robust. But allow your mind to hold the image of this place. This dent in the armor. It is a place of quiet wonder, a scientific curiosity. It is not a monster but a messenger. It is the Earth speaking to us, showing us in real time that its great deep cycles are in motion. It is a whisper from the core, made tangible in the space above our heads. It reminds us that our connection to the planet's deepest processes is not just philosophical, but physical. Our glowing web of technology, which we so often think of as separate from the natural world, is in fact deeply vulnerable to, and intertwined with, the most ancient and powerful forces of the Earth itself. Breathe in this sense of connection between the molten core and the orbiting satellite, between the deep Earth and the deep sky. And as you breathe out, let go of any tension, and feel a sense of awe at the intricate, complex, and living system of which we are all a part. The armor has a dent, but it is in these imperfections that the most interesting stories are often found. Section 5. When the compass spins. We have felt the deep, churning heart of the planet. We have read the ancient stories of past reversals in stone, and we have witnessed a present-day symptom of the coming change in the South Atlantic anomaly. We have laid the foundation of understanding. Now, let us move from what has been and what is to what might be. Let us use our imagination, guided by scientific models, to journey into the heart of the transition itself. What does a magnetic pole reversal actually look and feel like? Settle your mind. Let go of the dramatic imagery of disaster films. A reversal is not an instantaneous flip. It is not a switch being thrown. It is a slow, graceful, and profoundly confusing ballet of magnetic forces, unfolding over 1,000 years or more. A human lifetime is but a brief moment in this planetary transition. Let us imagine we are alive during the peak of this change. The old familiar magnetic field, the one we have called the Brunskron, has faded. Its strength is perhaps only 10% of what it once was. The reliable dipole, that simple, elegant structure with one north and one south pole, is gone. The engine in the core is no longer singing its simple resonant song. It is now in a period of chaotic improvisation. The music has become complex, dissonant, and unpredictable. What takes the place of the old dipole? Imagine on the surface of the Earth not 2 magnetic poles but many, 4, 6, perhaps even 8 or more poles scattered across the globe. There could be a magnetic North Pole over the Sahara Desert, and another over the Pacific Ocean. A South Pole might emerge in Siberia, while another appears near the coast of Australia. The beautiful, elegant lines of force that once arced gracefully from pole to pole are now a tangled, messy web. A cat's cradle of magnetic flux. Lines of force might emerge from the Earth in one location, loop over a continent, and plunge back in just a few thousand kilometers away. The invisible magnetic topology of our world has become a complex, multipolar maze. What does this mean for a simple, familiar object like a compass? Let your mind hold the image of a classic hiking compass. For all of human history, its needle has been a faithful guide. It has felt the gentle, persistent tug of a single, distant north, and it has aligned itself with quiet obedience. But in this future world, the compass is bewildered. It has lost its anchor. In some parts of the world, it might still point vaguely in one direction, but its pull would be weak, uncertain. In other places, it might spin lazily, unsure of where to point. And in regions between these new multiple poles, it might point east or west or even straight down or straight up, pulled by the confusing magnetic landscape. The very concept of a single magnetic north has lost its meaning. Imagine standing on a coastline, looking out at the sea. The sun still rises in the east and sets in the west, for the planet's rotational axis has not changed. The stars still trace their familiar paths across the night sky. The physical world remains the same, but the invisible world, the one the compass knows, is in a state of profound confusion. This is not a violent chaos, but a quiet, pervasive disorientation. For humanity, with its GPS and celestial navigation, the loss of a magnetic compass for direction finding would be an inconvenience, a challenge to overcome, but not an insurmountable one. We have learned to navigate by other means. But the true impact of this spinning compass is not on us, but on the countless other species with whom we share this world. The creatures who carry a compass not in their pocket, but within their very being. We will journey with them soon. For now, let us stay with the experience of the planet itself. The shield in this transitional state is not gone. This is a common misconception, but it is fundamentally changed. Instead of one large, overarching shield, the Earth now has a patchwork of smaller, regional magnetic umbrellas. Each of these new poles creates its own miniature magnetosphere around it. This weakened, fragmented shield is less effective at its primary job, deflecting the solar wind. The cosmic rain of particles from the sun and from deep space can penetrate deeper into our atmosphere, and not just at the poles. The beautiful, ethereal glow of the auroras would no longer be confined to the high latitudes of the Arctic and Antarctic. Imagine a night sky anywhere on Earth. In this future time, it would not be uncommon to look up and see a faint, shimmering curtain of light, an aurora over the tropics, a soft, green glow above the Mediterranean, a pulsating red veil seen from the heartland of North America. The sky itself would become a canvas for the cosmic winds, the entire upper atmosphere transformed into a global, gentle light show. It would be a world of breathtaking, ever-present celestial beauty, a constant reminder of our planet's intimate connection to the sun. But this cosmic rain has other consequences. The increased radiation reaching the upper atmosphere would have chemical effects. It would likely lead to a depletion of the ozone layer. The ozone layer is our other shield, a chemical one, protecting us from the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiation. A weaker ozone layer would mean higher levels of UV on the surface, requiring greater protection for our skin and eyes when outdoors. It would not be a sterilizing, life-ending catastrophe, but a significant environmental stress, a change in the fundamental rules of life on the surface that all species, including us, would need to adapt to. The air itself would feel different to our most sensitive instruments. The increased radiation would create more charged particles in the atmosphere. This could lead to more frequent and more spectacular lightning, a world with a more electric sky. So let us paint a picture of this transitional Earth. It is a world where the primary directions of north and south have become meaningless concepts. A world where the night sky, from any vantage point, might shimmer with the soft light of an aurora. A world where the sun's invisible rays are a little stronger, and the air crackles with a little more static charge. It is a world in flux, a planet reconfiguring its own energetic signature. It has not lost its way, it is simply finding a new one. The disorientation of the compass is a symbol of this grand realignment. The planet is letting go of its old, rigid polarity and embracing a period of fluid, creative chaos before it settles into a new, stable state. For the 1,000 or so years that this transition lasts, life on Earth would exist within this new, strange, and strangely beautiful set of conditions. It would be a test of adaptability, a challenge. But life has faced such challenges before. The ancient stones tell us this. Life has survived hundreds of an identical process. As you rest here in our time of a stable, predictable field, allow your imagination to hold this vision of a multipolar Earth. Feel the quiet confusion of the spinning compass. See the soft glow of a tropical aurora. Feel the slight tingle of a more electric atmosphere. This is not a vision of doom, but of profound transformation. It is the image of a planet in the midst of a deep creative act of self-renewal. The old certainties are dissolving, making way for a new order to emerge. Breathe in the calm of our present stability, and as you breathe out, let go of the need for permanence. Find a quiet beauty in the idea of a world that can reinvent itself so completely. A world that is always in its deepest heart, in a state of becoming. The compass spins not because it is broken, but because the world is dreaming a new direction into being. Section 6. Nature's Ancient Navigators. We have imagined a world in transition, a world of spinning compasses and global auroras, where the familiar magnetic signposts have dissolved into a complex and confusing web. For a species like ours, which has increasingly outsourced its sense of direction to technology, this change is a curiosity, a scientific marvel, a set of technical challenges to be overcome. But we are not the only navigators on this planet. We are newcomers to the art of finding our way. For hundreds of millions of years, life has been crisscrossing this globe, guided by senses we are only just beginning to understand. Our journey now is into the minds, or perhaps more accurately, into the sensory worlds of these ancient navigators. Let us step away from the human perspective and try to feel the world through their senses, to understand what the loss of a stable magnetic field means to them. For these creatures, the magnetic field is not an abstract concept. It is a sixth sense. A map, a compass, and a home address, all written into the fabric of the planet. Let your mind take flight with the Arctic tern. This small, graceful seabird is the champion of migration. It travels from the North Pole to the South Pole and back again every single year, a journey of some 90,000 kilometers. It chases an endless summer, living in more daylight than any other creature on Earth. Imagine you are this bird. Your wings are a marvel of engineering, but your true gift is the compass in your head. Scientists believe that deep within your eye, in your retina, there are special proteins called cryptochromes. When light strikes these molecules, they become entangled at a quantum level. The Earth's magnetic field, weak as it is, can influence how long these molecules stay entangled. This process, incredibly, may create a visual pattern, an overlay on your normal sight. You do not just see the world, you see the magnetic field. It might appear as a pattern of light and shadow, a soft abstract shape that shifts as you turn your head. By keeping this pattern in a certain alignment, you know you are flying in the right direction. It is a visual compass built into your very biology. Now imagine this world during a magnetic reversal. The elegant, reliable pattern you have always used for your global journey is gone. In its place is a confusing mess of shifting light and shadow. The familiar magnetic highway has been replaced by a tangled network of broken roads and dead ends. Multiple weak poles create conflicting patterns in your vision. The map that has guided your ancestors for millennia now lies in tatters. You still feel the pull of instinct. The changing length of the days tells you it is time to fly south. But when you take to the air, the world looks wrong. The clear signpost is gone. You might fly in circles or follow a false line of force that leads you out over a barren ocean instead of along a fruitful coastline. The journey, once a matter of instinct, has become a desperate puzzle. Now let us sink from the sky into the vast blue depths of the ocean. Become a loggerhead sea turtle. You were born on a specific beach in Florida. As a hatchling, you scrambled across the sand and into the waves, and in that short, frantic journey, you imprinted on the unique magnetic signature of your birthplace. Each spot on Earth has its own magnetic inclination, the angle the field lines make with the surface, and intensity. For you, the combination of these two values is a unique address. It is the coordinates of home. For years, you have roamed the great ocean gyres of the Atlantic, thousands of miles from where you were born. But now you are mature and a deep ancient calling pulls you back to that very same beach to lay your own eggs. You are not following a scent or the stars. You are feeling your way home. As you swim, you are sensing the subtle shifts in the magnetic field. You are feeling for that specific inclination, that specific intensity. You are navigating a map of magnetic topography. But in the world of a reversal, that map is warped and unreliable. The magnetic signature of your home beach, once so clear and distinct, is now weak or distorted by a nearby rogue pole. The gentle magnetic slopes you used to navigate have become a chaotic landscape of hills and valleys. You search for a familiar feeling that is no longer there. The concept of home, as a magnetic address, has become a phantom. Do you search in vain? Do you nest on a less than ideal beach, reducing your offspring's chances of survival? The bond between generations, held by an invisible magnetic thread, is now frayed. Let us go deeper still, into the world of the largest minds on the planet, the great whales. Humpback and gray whales perform some of the longest migrations in the animal kingdom, traveling from cold feeding grounds in the poles to warm calving grounds in the tropics. Their journeys are precise year after year. They, too, are believed to use the magnetic field. The long linear magnetic stripes on the ocean floor, those very same stripes that told us the story of past reversals, may serve as underwater highways for them. They may feel these subtle shifts in magnetism as they swim, using them as guide rails on their immense journeys. In a transitional world, these highways are gone. The magnetic landscape of the seafloor is a jumble. A whale's journey becomes a far more perilous undertaking. It could explain a mysterious and tragic phenomenon we already witness today: mass strandings. Sometimes, groups of whales will inexplicably swim ashore and beach themselves. Some scientists speculate that this may happen when the whales are navigating in areas where local magnetic anomalies on the seafloor, caused by geology, confuse their internal compass. They make a wrong turn and end up in shallow, dangerous waters. Now imagine a world where these local anomalies are the norm, where the entire global field is a confusing mess. Mass stranding events might become far more common. The great, intelligent navigators of the ocean would be lost in their own homes. their instincts betrayed by the shifting planet beneath them. From the bird to the turtle to the whale, and to countless other species, salmon, bees, bats, even bacteria living in the mudlife has evolved in dialogue with the Earth's magnetic field. It is a fundamental sense, as important as sight or smell. A reversal is a profound disruption of this dialogue. It is as if the world has gone dark for a sense they have relied upon for eons. This does not necessarily mean mass extinction. Life is resilient. It adapts. Over the generations of the reversal, some individuals, perhaps those who are better at using secondary cues like the sun or stars, or those with a less rigid reliance on their magnetic sense, would be more successful. Evolution would favor new navigational strategies. Life would find a way. But the transition would be a time of great stress and struggle. It would be a filter, sorting the adaptable from the specialized. The ancient, instinctual maps that have served so well would need to be redrawn. The internal compasses would need to be recalibrated. As you lie here, feel a sense of empathy for these silent navigators. Feel the world not through your eyes, but through the magnetic sense of a bird. The map in a turtle's mind, the underwater highway of a whale. It fosters a deep sense of connection to these creatures, a recognition that they inhabit a sensory world richer, and in some ways more mysterious than our own. The flickering shield is not just a geological or physical phenomenon, it is a biological one. It is a story about the deep, intimate, and often invisible threads that connect all living things to the planet itself. When the planet changes, all of its inhabitants must change with it. The dance of migration, one of the great rhythmic wonders of the natural world, would be forced to find a new tempo, a new choreography, guided by a sky of shifting light and a world of spinning compasses. Breathe in a sense of wonder for these incredible creatures. And as you breathe out, send a feeling of peace and empathy out to all the silent travelers of the world, navigating by forces we can barely perceive, on a planet that is forever in motion. Section 7. A sky of cosmic rain. We have felt the confusion of nature's navigators as their internal compasses spin, their ancient maps rendered useless by the shifting poles. This is a profound biological impact. But let us now turn our attention back to the physical world, to the shield itself. During a reversal, the primary shield weakens to a fraction of its normal strength, replaced by a patchwork of smaller, regional magnetic umbrellas. What does this truly mean for the surface of the Earth? What are the consequences of living under a thinner, more porous shield? The most direct consequence is an increase in the amount of energy from space reaching our atmosphere. The solar wind, that constant stream of charged particles from the sun, and the even more energetic cosmic rays, which originate from distant supernovae and other violent celestial events, are no longer deflected as effectively. Our world for a time is bathed in a gentle but persistent cosmic rain. Let us reframe this. The word radiation often conjures images of danger and toxicity, and while high doses are certainly harmful, let's approach this with a sense of cosmic wonder rather than fear. Imagine the space between the planets not as an empty void, but as a place filled with a flowing invisible energy, a river of particles born in the heart of our sun and in the death of distant stars. For eons, our strong magnetic shield has acted like a great dam, holding back the full force of this river. During a reversal, the floodgates of that dam are opened just a little wider. This cosmic rain does not mean the surface of the Earth becomes a dangerously radioactive zone. Our thick atmosphere provides a powerful secondary layer of protection. It is our planet's physical blanket, and it is just as important as the magnetic one. Picture a single high-energy particle from deep space, a galactic cosmic ray hurtling towards Earth. It has traveled for thousands, perhaps millions of years across the galaxy. During the reversal, the weakened magnetic field allows it to plunge deep into our atmosphere. But it does not reach the ground. High up, perhaps 10 or 20 kilometers above the surface, it collides with the nucleus of an air molecule, a nitrogen or oxygen atom. This single collision is an event of incredible energy. It is a microscopic supernova. The cosmic ray shatters the air nucleus, and the energy from this collision creates a shower of secondary particles. Pions, muons, neutrinos, and other exotic, short-lived particles spray downwards and outwards. This is called an air shower. Each of these secondary particles can then hit other air molecules, creating a cascade, a chain reaction that spreads through the upper atmosphere. So what reaches the ground is not the single powerful cosmic ray from space, but the very diffuse, gentle fizz of the end products of this cascade. Our atmosphere acts as a giant shock absorber, taking the concentrated energy of a single particle and distributing it harmlessly over a wide area. Even today, with our strong shield, billions of these particles are raining down on us every second. You are being showered with them right now as you rest. You do not feel them. They pass through your body, through the walls of your room, through the very planet itself, causing no harm. During a reversal, the intensity of this gentle rain would increase. The number of particles in the cascade would be greater. The effect on a biological organism on the surface would be subtle, a slight increase in our natural background radiation dose. To put it in perspective, it might be similar to the increase in radiation you'd receive from taking a few extra long-haul flights per year, or from living at a higher altitude. It is a measurable change, a stress on biological systems, but it is not an apocalyptic event. The more significant effects, as we have touched upon, would occur higher in the atmosphere. The increased energy from this cosmic rain would be absorbed by the ozone layer. This delicate shield within a shield, made of 3 oxygen atoms bound together, is particularly vulnerable to the chemical reactions spurred by this energy. The ozone would be depleted, not completely destroyed but thinned. Imagine looking up at the sky. The sky itself would not look different, but the sunlight would feel different. It would carry more of an edge, a greater potential for sunburn. Life would need to adapt. Perhaps we would spend more time indoors during peak sunlight hours. Perhaps plants and animals would evolve greater natural protections against UV radiation. Life on Earth has survived periods of much lower oxygen and ozone in its deep past. It is a challenge, a change in the environmental rules, but one that life is equipped to handle over time. But let's return to the beauty. We spoke of the global auroras, the shimmering lights that would no longer be confined to the poles. This is the most visible and perhaps the most wondrous consequence of this cosmic rain. The sky would become a living canvas. Imagine a world where the celestial and the terrestrial are more intimately connected. The moods of the sun would be written across our nightly sky. A solar flare, a coronal mass ejection events that today are of interest mainly to scientists and satellite operators would become a shared global experience. A few days after a major solar storm, the sky from the equator to the mid-latitudes would erupt in a silent, luminous spectacle. It would change our relationship with the sky. We would become more attuned to the rhythms of the sun, more aware of the cosmic environment in which our planet swims. The night would lose some of its deep, uniform blackness and gain a soft, dynamic luminescence. It would be a world bathed in a perpetual gentle twilight of cosmic origin. There are other, more speculative effects. Some scientists suggest that the increased ionization in the atmosphere could lead to greater cloud formation. The charged particles from the air showers can act as seeds around which water vapor can condense. A world with more clouds could be a cooler world, a wetter world. The climate itself might shift in subtle ways, nudged by the delicate touch of particles from distant stars. This is a vision of a world more open to the universe. A world where the boundary between Earth and space becomes more blurred. The cosmic rain is not an invasion. It is a communion. It is the universe leaving its gentle fingerprints on our atmosphere. It is the breath of the cosmos mixing with our own. For the 1,000-year duration of the reversal, humanity and all life would exist in this slightly more energized, more luminous environment. It would be a time for poets and artists as much as for scientists, a time to contemplate our place in a cosmos that is not a distant, sterile void, but a dynamic, energetic river in which we are constantly immersed. The fear of radiation often comes from a feeling of being penetrated by an unseen, harmful force. But let's reimagine it. Think of it as the planet lowering its defenses just enough to feel the touch of the universe more directly. It is a state of vulnerability, yes, but also a state of greater intimacy with the cosmos. The shield is not broken, but has become a gossamer veil rather than an impenetrable wall. Through this veil, we would see and feel the universe in a way that no human in recorded history ever has. So as you rest, feel the quiet of your room. But know that even now, you are part of this cosmic dance. Particles that began their journey in the heart of the sun are passing through you. Particles born in the explosion of a star millions of light years away are part of the air you breathe. We are and have always been beings of the cosmos. A magnetic reversal simply reminds us of this fundamental truth in the most beautiful and humbling way imaginable. It is a sky not of threat but of wonder. A sky that reveals the true, energetic nature of our place in the universe. Breathe in the vastness of the cosmos, and as you breathe out, feel your own quiet place within it, resting safely under a double shield of atmosphere and magnetism, a celestial blanket protecting you as you drift deeper into rest. Section 8. Our glowing digital web. We have stood under a sky filled with the gentle cosmic rain of a weakened shield. A beautiful and humbling sight. We have imagined a world more intimately connected to the sun and stars, its nights painted with the global aurora. This is the planet's story. But over the last century, a mere heartbeat in geological time, humanity has woven its own web of light around the globe. A second nervous system not of biology but of electricity and information. Let your mind visualize this web. It is a luminous ghost, a delicate tracery of light clinging to the surface of the earth. It glows brightest in the great cities, a dense incandescent mesh. It stretches as fine threads of fiber optic cable across the vast, dark floors of the oceans. And it reaches upwards, connecting to a swarm of silent, humming fireflies in the sky, our satellites. This is our glowing digital web, the architecture of modern life. It carries our voices, our money, our knowledge, our dreams. It feels powerful, permanent, almost magical in its reach. And yet, this magnificent creation of human ingenuity, this global consciousness we have built, has a profound and unspoken vulnerability. It was designed and constructed entirely within the calm, stable magnetic field of the Bruns Kron. It presumes a quiet planet. Its delicate electronics and vast, interconnected networks are built upon the assumption that the shield above us will hold steady. During a magnetic reversal, this assumption is broken. The same cosmic rain that paints the sky with light becomes a storm for our fragile technology. The relationship is inverse. What is beautiful for the natural eye is hazardous for the digital one. Let us first travel back up to that orbital realm, to our silent shepherds in the void. We saw how satellites passing through the South Atlantic anomaly are battered by radiation. Now, imagine that condition, that dent in the armor expanding to cover the entire globe. There is no safe place to orbit. Every path takes a satellite through a fizzing sea of high-energy particles. The damage is not always instantaneous and catastrophic. It is often a slow, relentless aging, a degradation. Think of it as a constant, microscopic sandblasting. The solar panels, which drink in sunlight to power the satellite, slowly become opaque, their efficiency fading. The sensitive lenses of weather and Earth observation cameras become clouded, their view of the world below growing dim. The processors and memory chips, the very brains of the satellites, are subjected to a constant barrage that causes errors and wears down their delicate architecture. Our eyes and ears in the sky would begin to fail. The Global Positioning System (GPS), which relies on a constellation of at least 24 satellites broadcasting incredibly precise time signals, would start to fray. Its accuracy, which we now take for granted for everything from navigating our cars to synchronizing global financial transactions, would degrade. Your phone might place you 100 meters from where you actually are, or 1,000. The system would become a fuzzy approximation, not a pinpoint certainty. Global communication would become less reliable. The internet, banking, television broadcasts all rely on this orbital infrastructure. Connections would be lost. Data would be corrupted. We would experience a great digital dimming, a slow retreat from the instant global connectivity we have come to see as a birthright. We would not be cast back into the dark ages, but our glowing web would flicker and weaken, its reach contracting. But the vulnerability is not just in space. It is here on the ground, in the very infrastructure that powers our homes and cities. Let your mind drift to the great power grids. Picture the vast skeletal towers marching across the landscape, carrying thick cables of copper and aluminum. These are the arteries of our civilization, carrying the lifeblood of electricity. These long, continuous wires, stretching for hundreds or thousands of kilometers, act as giant antennas. And during a reversal, the shifting, turbulent magnetic field of the Earth itself becomes a powerful generator. As the magnetic lines of force writhe and dance, they induce powerful, unwanted currents in these long conductors on the ground. These are called geomagnetically induced currents, or GICs. Think of the power grid as a finely tuned circulatory system, designed to carry a specific type of inertia, smooth, alternating current, AC. The GICs are something else entirely. They are a slow, powerful direct current DC surge, a foreign substance being pushed into the system's arteries. This rogue current flows into the hearts of the grid, the massive transformers you see in electrical substations. These transformers are marvels of engineering, designed to step voltage up or down with incredible efficiency. But they are deeply allergic to DC current. When a GIC flows into a transformer's core, it saturates it. The transformer can no longer operate properly. It begins to waste enormous amounts of energy as heat. Imagine a low, resonant hum from a substation beginning to change its pitch, to take on a strained groaning sound. Inside the transformer, its steel core and copper windings are heating up, dangerously. If the GIC is strong enough and lasts long enough, the transformer can overheat to the point of failure. Its insulation can melt, its windings can short out, and it can be permanently destroyed in a cascade of protective shutdowns and, in the worst cases, fire. And the grid is a network. When one major transformer fails, its load is shifted to others which are also under stress from the GICs. They too can fail. A single, powerful magnetic fluctuation could trigger a cascading blackout across an entire continent. This would not be a storm that passes in a night. A large, high-voltage transformer is a bespoke piece of equipment, the size of a small house, which can take months or even years to build and install. A widespread burnout of these transformers could lead to power outages that last not for days, but for weeks, months, or even longer in some areas. This is the true fragility of our glowing web. Its foundations are vulnerable to the very planet it rests upon. The same force that creates the beautiful auroras can bring down the power grid. This vision is not one of apocalypse, but of immense challenge. It is a planetary scale call for humility and ingenuity. It forces us to ask, how do we build a more resilient society? How do we protect our vital systems? We can design grids that are more robust with blocking devices to stop GICs. We can build satellites with more radiation-hardened electronics. We can create backup systems that are less reliant on a fragile global network. A magnetic reversal would be a profound test for our technological civilization. It might force us into a slower, more localized existence for a time. It would be a world where information travels less quickly, where global supply chains are disrupted, where a reliable source of power is not a given. It would be a great reset, reminding us that our complex world is built upon the quiet grace of a stable planet. It reminds us that our glowing web, for all its brilliance, is just a thin, shimmering layer on the surface of a world with a deep, ancient, and powerful life of its own. The planet's heartbeat is a force far greater than any we can create, and our own creations must learn to exist in harmony with its fundamental rhythms. Breathe in the quiet reality of this moment, and as you breathe out, let go of the attachment to the constant hum of technology. Imagine a quieter world, a world where the planet's voice is a little louder, and our own is a little softer. A world waiting for the dawn of a new, more stable time. Section 9. The Dawn of a New North. We have walked through the unsettling twilight of the transition. We have felt the confusion of nature's navigators, stood under a sky of cosmic rain, and witnessed the flicker of our own digital web. It is a period of chaos, of unraveling, a time when the old rules no longer apply. It is easy to get lost in this vision of a world in flux, to feel that the disorientation might last forever. But the Earth is not a system that favors chaos. It seeks equilibrium. The dissonant, improvisational music of the core is not the final song. It is a prelude. After the chaos, a new order will emerge. Our journey now is to the far side of the reversal. Let us travel forward in time, past the 1,000 years or so of the messy multipolar state. We are arriving in a world where the transition is complete. The planet's deep, molten heart has found its new rhythm. What does this feel like? It is a feeling of settling, of resolution. Imagine the churning currents in the Earth's outer core, which had been so turbulent and disorganized, beginning to find a new, stable pattern. The rogue eddies and rebellious vortices have dissipated or been reabsorbed into a larger, more coherent flow. The spiraling columns of liquid iron are once again aligning, working in concert. The geodynamo, the great planetary engine, has reorganized itself. It begins to sing a new, clear, resonant note, a simple, powerful song. And as this new song radiates outward from the core, the magnetic field on the surface responds. The scattered, temporary poles that dotted the globe begin to fade away. Two poles once again assert their dominance. A new north and a new south emerge, strong and clear. The field is once again a simple, elegant dipole. The tangled web has been combed out into smooth, graceful lines of force arcing from one end of the planet to the other. But there is a profound difference. The compass needle, which had spun in confusion for so many generations, now settles with decisive clarity, points with confidence and strength. But it does not point to where it once did. Perhaps north is now in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Or perhaps what we once called the North Magnetic Pole is now near Antarctica, and the South Magnetic Pole is in the Canadian Arctic. The polarity has flipped. A compass that once pointed up now points down. The fundamental directionality of the planet's unseen forces has been inverted. This is the dawn of a new magnetic age. Geologists of a distant future will give it a new name, marking the end of the Bronze Chron, and the beginning of another long period of stability. For the creatures of this new Earth, this new direction is the only one they have ever known. It is the new normal. Imagine yourself as one of nature's navigators in this restored world. You are a descendant of those Arctic terns who struggled through the transition. But for you, the journey is once again instinctual. The quantum compass in your eye sees a clear, crisp pattern in the sky, a reliable highway guiding you on your immense journey. Your ancestors' confusion is a forgotten story, an evolutionary pressure that has shaped you but is no longer felt. You fly with the same certainty and grace as your ancestors did in the age before the reversal. Your map is clear again. Be the loggerhead turtle, swimming in the warm currents. The magnetic address of your nesting beach is once again a clear and unambiguous signal. You feel the familiar combination of inclination and intensity, a beacon calling you home across the vast ocean. The magnetic thread connecting you to your birthplace is strong and unbroken. The world has healed its directional sense. The shield is strong again, perhaps even stronger than it was before. It once again stands as a formidable barrier against the cosmic winds. The constant, global auroras have retreated, their beautiful spectacle once again confined to the high polar regions. The night sky, for most of the world, has returned to its deep, familiar blackness, punctuated only by the light of the moon and stars. The cosmic rain has subsided. The secondary shield, the ozone layer, has had a chance to regenerate. The sun's rays are once again softened by this protective atmospheric blanket. The rules of life on the surface have returned to a state of familiar equilibrium. For the human civilization that has weathered the storm, this is a time of rebuilding. The power grids can be brought back to full strength without the constant threat of GICs. The new generation of satellites, designed with the lessons of the reversal in mind, can operate with greater safety and longevity. The digital web can be rewoven stronger and more resilient than before. There is a collective planetary sigh of relief, a return to predictability, but it is a relief tempered with a new deep-seated wisdom. The memory of the transition, passed down through generations, would have fundamentally changed humanity's relationship with the Earth. We would have learned, in the most visceral way, that we are not masters of this planet, but passengers on a dynamic, living world. We would have learned that our technology is fragile, and our existence is dependent on planetary forces of unimaginable scale. The dawn of this new north is not just a return to the way things were. It is a new beginning, informed by the journey through chaos. It is a quieter, more humble and more resilient world. Humanity would have been forced to look away from its screens and look up at the sky, to listen to the planet's deeper rhythms. We would have rediscovered our place in the natural world, our senses sharpened by the period of instability. Imagine the feeling of a compass needle settling for the first time in your life. Imagine the comfort of a reliable direction, the rediscovery of a certainty that had been lost for generations. It is a profound moment of reconnection with the planet's fundamental order. This is the promise hidden within the flicker. The reversal is not an end but a renewal. It is a planetary shedding of skin, a clearing of the slate. The Earth shakes off its old magnetic field like a dusty coat and settles into a new one, refreshed and reoriented for the next great chapter of its existence. The chaos of the transition is the price of this renewal. The disorientation and the struggle are the labor pains of a planet giving birth to a new age. The dawn of the new north is the first clean breath of this new world. So as you lie here on the cusp of sleep, let your mind rest in this place of renewal. Feel the great turbulent cycle completing itself. Feel the return of a deep planetary peace. The Earth is not broken. It has simply turned over in its long slumber, found a new comfortable position, and settled back into a deep and peaceful rest, its shield once again strong and its heartbeat steady and clear. A new north has dawned and all is well. Breathe in the feeling of a new beginning, and as you breathe out, let the sense of peace and resolution wash over you. A quiet end to a long and wondrous journey. Section 10. Embracing a living world. We have come to the end of our long journey. We have traveled to the molten heart of the world, listened to the magnetic memories of ancient stones, and soared with the lost navigators of the sky and sea. We have stood under a beautiful, dangerous sky, witnessed the fragility of our own glowing creations, and finally, felt the profound peace of a world reborn, settling into the dawn of a new magnetic age. Our story has been about a grand planetary process, a drama of physics and geology unfolding on a scale that transcends human lifetimes. But as we bring our awareness back to this room, to the quiet stillness of this moment, what do we carry with us? What is the final soft echo of this epic tale? Perhaps it is a feeling of deep connection, a realization that the ground beneath you is not inert, but is the surface of a living, breathing body. A body with a beating heart of liquid iron, a circulatory system of heat and motion, and an energetic aura that cradles you even as you sleep. You are not simply on the earth, you are of the earth. Its rhythms are your rhythms. Its deep, slow changes are the context for your own brief, precious existence. We live in a culture that often prizes permanence, stability, and control. We build our cities on what we believe to be solid ground, we design our lives around predictable routines, and we are often unsettled by change. But the story of the magnetic reversal teaches us a different truth, a deeper truth. The truth of the cosmos is not permanence, but transformation. It is not stability but a dynamic, creative dance. The Earth is not a finished masterpiece, hung in the gallery of space. It is a work in progress. It is constantly making and unmaking itself. Mountains rise and fall, oceans open and close, and the very forces that define its being, like the magnetic field, ebb and flow in great slow breaths. To embrace this is to let go of a certain kind of fear. The fear of the unknown, the fear of change. The flickering shield is not a threat to be conquered, but a lesson to be learned. It is the planet's way of reminding us that we are part of something much older, much larger, and much more powerful than ourselves. And there is a profound peace to be found in that surrender. It invites us to a state of wonder. Can you feel the gentle curiosity of it all? To know that deep beneath you, an ocean of metal is churning, singing an electric song that protects you from the sun. To know that the rocks in the hills hold the memory of a time when north was south. To know that the birds in the sky navigate by a quantum sense in their eyes. This is not science fiction. This is the world you live in. A world of quiet, everyday magic. The story of the reversal is ultimately a story of resilience. The resilience of the planet, which renews itself through chaos. The resilience of life, which adapts and finds new ways to navigate a changing world. And it is a story that asks us to cultivate our own resilience. To build a human world that is not rigid and brittle, but flexible and adaptable. One that can bend with the great, slow rhythms of the earth instead of breaking against them. So as you drift now on the very edge of sleep, hold this feeling of being part of a living world. Feel the slow, steady pulse of the geodynamo, thousands of kilometers below. Feel the invisible lines of force arcing through the space around you. A silent, cosmic embrace. You are safe inside this ancient, flickering shield. It is a shield not of a static fortress, but of a dynamic, dancing, ever-changing planet. Let this story be a lullaby from the earth itself. A whisper from its molten heart, a tale written in its ancient stones, a song carried on its solar winds. A story that tells you that change is natural, that renewal follows chaos, and that you are an integral part of the most wondrous and mysterious system we have ever known. Rest now. Rest in the arms of a living, breathing, dreaming world. The cosmic currents gently rock you now, and the story has come to its peaceful close. The earth continues its silent, majestic dance, and you are a part of it. May your sleep be deep and your dreams be filled with wonder. May you wake refreshed, feeling the solid ground beneath you with a new sense of connection and peace. Good night.